Mix Design is your one-stop shop for custom clothing with a personal touch. At Mix Design, we can help you tell your story through your wardrobe. Your imagination on a hat, shirt, pullover, or nearly anything wearable. And while you're picking out some custom clothing, check out the one-of-a-kind handmade soaps from the Bobcat Soap Company. Find us on Facebook and let us create custom swag just for you at Mix Design. Mix Design is your one-stop shop for custom clothing with a personal touch. At Mix Design, we can help you tell your story through your wardrobe. Your imagination on a hat, shirt, pullover, or nearly anything wearable. And while you're picking out some custom clothing, check out the one-of-a-kind handmade soaps from the Bobcat Soap Company. Find us on Facebook and let us create custom swag just for you at Mix Design.
This is where the fun begins.
Get ready for raw, unfiltered Razorback talk. Nobody knows what they'll say next. It's time to go inside the hog pen with Razorback Zach, Marcus MC Carlton, and Sarah Swish Vogel.
Let me talk to you.
Yeah, let me talk to you. You notice there is a piece missing tonight. Y'all notice what the piece is? It's Razorback Zach. Razorback Zach is not with us tonight. He's out. He's going to help keep us all safe tonight. He's a certified storm chaser, so he's out guarding the area tonight. But we still got D-Mad, and we got Sarah Savage, and we got, me, MC. We're here for another episode of Inside the Hawg Pen. How are y'all?
Is that spelled EMCC or EMCEE, or is that MC?
There you go. So we'll talk about the new swag I got on here in just a second. But Sarah, I saw, we were talking a little bit in pre-show. Looks like the bad weather's got to you. So if we see Sarah and then we suddenly don't, we'll blame the weather.
It's the internet. The weather's just a bad thunderstorm right now. Like I went out in the front door real quick while we were on break, and the wind isn't too bad. It's just the hail and the rain.
Okay.
So it's
Hell
not bad.
yeah.
So if we hear like peck, 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 that's the hail hitting. It's not you pounding on your keyboard, right?
Yeah. Let's make
no
that
happy
clear.
hours going on.
Yeah, no happy hour.
D-Mad, how's things in your neck of the woods, man?
I do this great thing. I let Zach worry about the weather. I just sit here and I just type on my keyboard and let stuff keep on going.
There you go, man.
I don't know what's going on outside, honestly. I probably need to take my dogs out here soon, but
my dog tends to when things start getting really bad, he starts panting really hard. So that's kind of our cue to start paying attention. So anyway, enough weather talk for the night. Welcome to the show, everybody. As I said, Razorback Zach's out chasing these storms that are all around the state tonight. So Zach, if you're out there and you're listening, buddy, be safe tonight. And while everybody's tuning in, you can leave us a review. You can tell us we're awesome. Tell us we're no experts. Tell us whatever you want. We just want the feedback. We don't care what it is. Just leave
Twitter.
us feedback.
Twitter, talk to us.
Yes.
Talk to us on Twitter. I'm monitoring Twitter the entire show.
There we go.
It might not show up on screen, but I can look at it and I can respond to you. So Twitter, respond to us too. Facebook and YouTube, you already know the deal.
There it is. All right, so before we jump into this and start off with a little baseball, I got to throw a big shout out to our sponsor, Meeks Design. You saw them there in the little pre-show countdown. And thanks to Meeks Design, I'm going to try to stand up and stay close to my mic so you can do this. There you go. There's some of the new swag that we got that is exclusively. Right. What's that?
I'm glad that my name is spelled right.
So that is a very sensitive topic with me because I have a couple Sarahs in my family. So I made sure that I got that right when I sent that info over.
How do you spell?
It's like spelling.
It's the H. It's the H. Gotcha.
Yeah, or like Zach with a K.
Yeah.
Like it's kind of like those. Yeah.
Yeah, okay. And my daughter's got one of those names. One of those names
that
too,
with my name of Dylan. I mean, I should be able to understand that, but whatever. There's only one right way to spell it, by the way.
There you go. There you go. All right. So now that we got all the business out of the way, let's jump into this. Before we get to the final regular season series at Baum, I guess we got to talk about Kentucky a little bit. Hogs, Hagen did Hagen things, and we took the Friday night game. And then after that, it was not quite as pretty. But, I mean, it's not like you go out and you lost to Missouri or to Auburn. I mean, Kentucky's a really good team.
And Sunday wasn't as bad as it started off being. It ended up being a good game. I got really worried at the beginning of Sunday. Obviously, everybody's worried. I mean, even DVH said it himself, like, we got to hit the dang ball. But also, we made it to – was it Omaha in 2018 and we lost every road series or pretty close to every road series? Losing a road series is not that big of a deal.
Well, and when you lose a road series to a top 10 team, that's, as I said, that's a little different than losing to last place Missouri or last place Auburn, which we did lose to those too.
Well, looks like we lost Sarah too, but this team kind of reminds me of that Michael Turner year, the rental player year, as we like to call it.
22.
They went to the game before the final, or whatever you want to call it.
Yeah, semifinals.
Yeah, they went to the semifinals. But we honestly, going into that team was one of those Jekyll and Hyde type of teams, and we never knew what team was going to show up on what day, and we ended up just getting hot at the right moment, like everybody's supposed to. And it was great at the end of the year, but they figured it out is the main thing.
Yeah,
and throughout the year they were having those ups and downs, and everybody was getting mad at them. Ruskin and Zach calling Michael Turner a rental player.
God, that was
probably actually helped quick. Too. Let's be honest.
Yeah. Well, and it's funny because now Ruskin takes credit for the deep run into the College World Series. Because Michael Turner went on an insane tear after that rental player comment.
And he also started getting behind the plate, throwing people out too. That back pick against was it North Carolina?
North Carolina, yes. He looked like Yadi Molina throwing that back pick. I mean, it was sick. But talking about that 22 season, when you get to Omaha, it's all about getting hot at the right time. Because I mean, let's be honest. Who ended up winning the whole thing in 22 had no business being in the tournament.
That's true.
And if they don't cancel their last regular season non-conference game, their RPI takes such a hit that they don't even make the tournament.
So apparently that's a thing though right now. Is like people are canceling their midweek games to save RPI. They're using like players being hurt as an excuse, but it's essentially to save their RPI. Yeah,
and I saw that it's getting so bad now that there is talk that there will be a rule put into place that you can't cancel midweek games late in the season unless it's for weather purposes, because they're doing it because
smart like DVH and not schedule them.
Exactly. Yes.
Where they should just have a minimum game threshold that every team has to have, kind of like they do in basketball, football, and a lot of other sports.
Yep.
Like as long as you meet that minimum game threshold, like some of the games that you can schedule over it, that way you can cancel them later. But I mean, for weather purposes, I mean, you have to have a minimum game threshold.
Yeah, I like it. All right, so we got to get into these comments because they're starting to pile up. Started off with our man Sam Jones. Twitter is now your bitter ex.
He's coming in hot.
Coming in hot. He must be talking about Kentucky fans because, Lord have mercy. So anyway, Sarah, I guess you can take this one here.
No. My mom's gonna steal my shirt, guys. If you don't know where, if I say I don't know where it is, my mom probably has it.
Details will be worked out on this, but we're gonna have some shirts for giveaways. So we're gonna have some giveaways down the road, and we've got some shirts that we're gonna be able to give away. We just got to figure out the details of how we're going to do the giveaways. Our man Jesse Randall Thurman comes in. So we got some developments to discuss tonight. Yes, we do. There was actually some news that happened for basketball, like right as we were getting ready to hit the button to come on air tonight. We'll talk about that a little bit later on in the show. Lisa Hancock, over here from my neck of the woods, over here in the NEA, says, "Hey guys, hey Miss Lisa, how are you? We all going to Omaha?" Well, I don't know. Sarah has said from day one that she's going.
I've already decided I'm going to find my way there. Mom, if you're listening, sorry, this is my announcement that I'm going to go. But I won't be able to go until like Friday because I do have an 8 to 5 this summer. So
yeah. Oh, you're about to be adulting now. So
just for 2 months.
Hey, if I could do it just for 2 months, that would be plenty for me. So let's see. Next comment, Jesse. What does everyone think it will take to clinch a national top 8 seed?
Yes, 500
exactly.
over the next 2 weekends.
Yeah, I think if
bare minimum,
you got to go. Yeah, you got to be 3-3 out of these last 6. I mean,
bare
4-2.
minimum.
You at least have to.
Would be
I
nice.
feel like we have to win Miss State.
Yes,
I think A&M, and then I think A&M. I think you could get swept at A&M and still be okay. Personally,
I think so too.
Depending on scores, let me put that out there.
Yeah,
you don't want to get blown out, but if it's like 4-3, 5-2, even like we're fine.
You can't go down to A&M and get run ruled, and they've won several conference games by run rule. You can't go down there and they're going to be gunning. I mean, because this is the last series of the regular season. It's more than likely it's going to decide the West. So, but honestly, we can't look past Mississippi State this weekend because Mississippi State, I would say they're one of the hottest teams in the league right now. Honestly,
I think they're ranked number 14, aren't they?
Yeah. I saw a projection today from D1. I think it was D1 baseball doing like regional projections, and they had us as a 6 seed matching up with Mississippi. I'm sorry, 5 seed matching up with the super regional with Mississippi State, who would be the national 12 seed.
Also, we can't freak out about a loss to Kentucky. We really can't. Now we can freak out how they lost. There's a difference. We've been saying all year we don't want them to win every series. We want them to win every series, but we don't want the number 1 seed. We just need if we get an 8-9 matchup, honestly, I'm fine with that. Like, as long as we have a home super regional, I think Baum Walker's worth at least 4 runs a night. Let's be honest here.
At least.
And that could be 2
Baum Walker, especially.
Yeah, exactly. 2 runs our way or minus 2 runs their way. And it just kind of depends on that. But I think we have to be able to just jump right into it. What DVA said, hit the damn ball. Yeah, like maybe they're overthinking it and stuff, but they need to hit the ball.
We also need our pitchers to stay healthy, but also we need them to eat up innings.
Yeah.
That's what was it? It wasn't McIntyre. It was Gage Wood that came in and ate up those innings. And I think he might have a starting spot now. Like that's what.
Okay, so that's where I was headed next. What I was going to ask what you guys thought about Dave's comments about Gage didn't just eat up innings. He's getting ready to take somebody's job. Whose job do you guys think he's going to take?
Molina.
Yeah, that's
I think it's got to be Tiger. Tiger's been having such control issues, and he's been walking a lot. I mean, he might not make it
definitely become an issue for him.
I think.
Go ahead.
I think Oh, it's hard because Tiger's had some good weekends, whereas like Molina hasn't had a good weekend in a while. He hasn't lasted as many innings as Tiger. That's why I think Gage takes Molina, because Molina's only lasted about 3 or 4 innings, where Brady can go 6. It might be a rough 6, but it's 6 innings,
Right.
So
Yeah.
I think it'll kind of go down to. I think it'll kind of depend on. I think what happened at practice this week, honestly, how each one of them's throwing. But he could go after Tiger too.
I think
So-
didn't Dave say he locked the doors to the practice facility, let them
Yes.
get their heads right?
Yeah,
into it?
he took unless it was somebody who had a pitcher who had a bullpen session to kind of stay on schedule. He wasn't allowing anybody in the facility for 2 days to kind of give them not just a physical break, but also a mental break. And I mean, let's face it. I mean, what are we
Going into finals
50?
week
We're
2.
50 games in. It's finals week. You're coming up on the last home series of the year. I mean, a couple of days of not having to, really lock in on baseball right now, because baseball is as much mental as it is physical. I mean, anybody that's played will tell you that. And you have to stay locked in. And to have a couple days where you can just kind of reset your brain, reset your body, get some rest, and come back. I mean, in Dave we trust until we have a reason not to. So I think he's got a good feel for this team, and I think a couple days off, we'll see how much difference it makes comes this weekend when the Cowbells come to town.
I just hope the guys took it seriously. Just coming from a college student perspective, like you can either take it really seriously or you can go crap around for 2 days, which is really easy to do around Fayetteville. Like it really is.
I know you know this, Sarah. Just getting punched in the mouth like they've been getting punched in the mouth repeatedly over. Like at some point they're gonna take a step back and just they're not gonna sleep well for the next couple days because they know like it's gonna be on their mind.
Yeah.
This is a great time to like clear all that out of their mind and like go ahead and like embrace everything that they're that's going on and be able to clear that and reset. So I do think this is going to be a good reset for them. And even going into the SEC tournament, sorry MC, but DVH might have plans to go 0-2 in barbecue.
I mean, he very well may. I mean, it's
personally, I don't give a crap if we do.
I mean, selfishly, I'd like for us to go a little bit further. We don't have to go all the way to Sunday, but I could see us getting through, maybe winning one game and then losing the next 2. I could see that.
I think DVH has proved his point with the SEC tournament. He doesn't care anymore.
Yeah,
I think it's pointless for all sports. But my main question is, it's double elimination, right?
Mm-hmm.
It's single, double, single.
Okay, so will we get a bye if we're first we get a bye? Okay.
Mm-hmm.
First or second.
I've been checking out the bracket for obvious reasons since I'm going down for the tournament. It starts on Tuesday, but it's very similar layout to the SEC basketball tournament. So you know how you want to avoid that game on Wednesday night in the basketball tournament.
Wednesday night.
So you want to. Yeah, Wednesday night sadness. Well, it's Tuesday sadness for the SEC baseball tournament.
Okay.
And then your top 4 seeds don't play till Wednesday.
Okay.
So
we're almost guaranteed to not play on Tuesday.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know. I mean, I have to look at the standings to see for sure, but I think we would have to go like over the next 6 to have to play on that Tuesday. So I think we're pretty safe there. It's just depending on the final, where we end up in the final standings will determine whether we play at 9:30, 1:30, 4:30, or 8 o'clock on Wednesday. So that's kind of where we're at right now. And it just, because it's us, A&M, Kentucky, and I believe Tennessee are the top 4 right now.
Correct.
And there's just too many games left to determine who's going to be what, because that's how tight everything is. So there's one of our favorites in the house tonight. Mama Linda says, "Good evening, ITHP." Well, welcome to the show. Glad you could make it.
I believe she had a birthday not too long ago, didn't she?
I think so. Yeah, I believe so.
I believe she turned 22 years old, right?
yeah. We'll go with that. So
happy birthday, Mama Linda.
So, All right, jumping back into some of these comments. Lisa comes up, says Hagen Smith has not lost. Yes, Arkansas. So his record is only like 8-0 because he's had 3 or 4 non-decisions. But we have not lost a game in which he started.
My question is, this is me not knowing enough about baseball, but if you get to that final series, and I know it's not Friday, Saturday, Sunday, but it's a 3-game series.
Yeah, it's Thursday through Saturday.
Yeah. Do you pitch him first and last?
So it kind of depends on how the tournament falls off, because the way it is like if there's like basically a 6-game series with the College World Series. If you just run through it, then you're going to be set up good to run your ace on that first game of the College World Series. But if you're having struggles and you get to the point where you're going to like that sixth game, then you're probably going to have to, or 6th or 7th game. It's something like that where your ace is going to be the next one to come up pitching. So the first pitcher that you're going to have is going to be your Saturday starter going into the College World Series at that point. Because we almost had to do that with Blaine Knight.
But so then you're saying then he would throw the last game, or Hagen could
More
throw
than
the last
likely.
game? Okay.
More than likely.
Okay.
All right, so I got a quick correction to make here, Dylan.
Sorry.
We were in the correct household, but it was Casey. It wasn't Linda. So
well, Mama Linda, tell Casey we said happy 22nd.
You see what happens when Zach's not here? I mean, this is what you get. So
chaos.
Anyway, if you're just jumping in, Zach is out. Zach's a storm chaser, as well as one of the other 900 different hats that he wears. So he's out doing a little storm chasing tonight with things kind of popping off here in Arkansas. And I've got weather on over here to my screen on my right side, so I'm kind of keeping an eye on it here. So we'll do a couple more comments, and then we're going to step aside for a break and come back and talk some hoops. But I got a couple more comments I want to get in. Jesse comes back in and says, Phil was saying that Gage or Ben would probably start the Wednesday game in Hoover, which that fits right with Dave's mentality, because Dave kind of treats Hoover as a midweek game.
I liked Ben Bybee when I went and saw him in Dickie Stevens.
Mm-hmm.
He was throwing some gas. Now, I was in the outfield, so I didn't get to get as good of a look on it, but
Right.
It seemed like he was fighting in every count he was in. Like I think he had 2 walks during that game in 3 innings of work, but he was keeping the hitters on their toes every time. And you could tell even from 400 feet away that those pitches were humming. And he's just had a good mix to his pitches too. So I think he's a pretty solid guy too. And we had him starting in midweeks, which is the crazier part.
Yeah. And that's and getting back to what you guys were talking about with the pitching rotation as it gets in terms of Omaha. And I don't feel like we're touching the money here, because this goes for every team, not just for Arkansas. But the main point to keep your pitching out of, a kind of a cautionary area is to try to stay out of that loser's bracket. Now, obviously, not everybody's going to be able to do that, but that's when you start burning up arms, because you start playing every single day rather than every other day. And
but if any team's built for that right now, it's going to be us.
I mean, yeah, that was my next point.
And the thing about TD Ameritrade is there's not been a home run hitting team like Tennessee that's gone in there and just set the world on fire. Just
right.
I think the most home runs that were hit it was not too long ago, but we've had a historic team hit 90-something home runs in a season. You had Tennessee, which I think they went to the College World Series. Didn't they?
No, that year that was they got upset by Notre Dame that year, the year they broke the home run record.
But then I think the next year they went, and then they just got 0-2 and barbecued.
Mm-hmm.
But they still had a crazy amount of home runs hit that year.
Yeah,
that stadium's not built for home runs.
Yeah, when they built TD Ameritrade, they definitely built it to be a pitcher's park. There's been a few times that I remember where maybe the weather would get a little iffy and the wind would start blowing out, but even then, you still didn't see just the onslaught of home runs.
Mm-hmm.
So, and I mean, let's face it, Tennessee plays in basically a little league park. So, I mean, they're going to have 600 home runs a year playing in that.
You're saying that they play in the same size park as the Yankees do? Is that what
I'll just say that, I think they're playing on the same dimensions that my 9-year-old son is playing on right now. So anyway, that sounds like a good place to kind of step off into the break. So we're going to step aside for a quick break. pay some bills. And when we come back, we're going to get into Calipari University and talk a little bit of hog hoops. So y'all stick around with us. We'll be back right after this on Inside the Hog Pen. Mix Design is your one-stop shop for custom clothing with a personal touch. At Mix Design, we can help you tell your story through your wardrobe. Your imagination on a hat, shirt, pullover, or nearly anything wearable. And while you're picking out some custom clothing, check out the one-of-a-kind handmade soaps from the Bobcat Soap Company. Find us on Facebook and let us create custom swag just for you at Mix Design. All right, welcome back in, everybody, to Inside the Hog Pen. D-Mad, Sarah, Swish, Savage, Vogel, and your boy here, MC. Here along for the ride, we got our man Jesse Thurman back behind the scenes taking care of us with some stats and some other pertinent information that we need. So, all right, let's get into some basketball updates. Coach Cal is just out here doing Coach Cal things. I mean, I don't know how else to put it.
I'm kind of speechless.
That was it. That's good enough.
I mean, you know, you've got and I'm going to butcher his name because I'm a Northeast Arkansan and I'm not used to names like this. Adu Thiero. So we got the Adu who transferred in from Tennessee, and then we got Adu Thiero. I mean, you know,
I do.
Yeah, I do. You're going to have this is going to wreak havoc on the fan base trying to keep those.
I'm learning numbers, not names. That's what like. Every name is just like, I just know I'm going to screw it up, mix them up. Like,
I think we found the name though.
Yeah,
we're going to release that one later.
Yeah, we'll put that one in our back pocket for now. But yeah, that's definitely how we're going to tell the difference between the two. But yeah, so Thiero commits.
That doesn't.
Thiero commits, and then you got DJ Wagner coming in on a visit this weekend. And then just before we went on the air, about 10, 15 minutes before we went on the air, Tyler Ulis, the former Kentucky point guard, he has been added to Calipari's staff. Now, the role has not been specified yet, but he is going to be on the coaching staff.
It's assistant coach, but we don't know if it's like head of operations, head of recruiting. But
right.
He is an assistant. Right. So that makes 3 assistants now? 4?
Well, so you've got Kenny Payne, you've got Chin Coleman, and then who was the other guy that came with Chin Coleman straight from Kentucky?
Was it Mark something?
I don't remember. I have to look it up on Twitter. So you got those 3, and then you've got Tyler Ulis, and then technically Ronnie Brewer's still in the mix. Because he's still, he has not been removed from the webpage.
Yeah, I was like, Ronnie's head of recruiting. No, he's Cal said he's staying in some interview, I think.
Okay.
Or cool. Someone said Ronnie was at
Chuck
the moment.
Martin. Yeah, Chuck Martin was the other one. Thank you. Appreciate that. So Chin Coleman and Chuck Martin were the 2 guys that came with him from Kentucky. I mean, shaping up to be a really good staff, man.
I mean, they still have Ronnie Brewer listed as assistant coach / recruiting coordinator on the website. So I think Sarah's right. I think he's going to be staying for the most part. You're 3 weeks.
That's a really good coaching staff.
I mean, you're what, 3 to 4 weeks into Calipari. He would have cleansed the timeline, as we'll say, if Brewer wasn't staying.
Today is May 8th. I believe it was exactly a month ago when the news broke that hey, Arkansas and Calipari are working on a deal.
The sports
I think it was a month ago yesterday.
Was it yesterday? Okay.
That's what they released the documentary like a month after he'd been hired.
Okay. All right.
Let me ask y'all a question. Just go off. Let me go off script just a little bit. All right. I keep on seeing people, mainly big Big Baloo Nation. Just bellyache nation over there.
Bellyache Nation. I like.
They keep on saying stuff about Calipari University. Like that's gonna kind of dig at us. I saw somebody else say that's not really a dig at us.
No.
We're gonna embrace that. We don't care if it's Calipari University. He's our guy now. So if that's what it takes to bring people in, we're not too prideful to say, oh, this is Arkansas. It's not Calipari University. We're not like you belly aching, bitter ex-girlfriends.
Yeah.
To me,
they've got.
To me, it's not a problem. The reason people follow him is because he develops NBA talent, and it's proven NBA talent. To me, that's what stands out. I don't care if they call us Calipari University. I don't care if they call us Calzone, chicken people. I've been called chicken people my whole life, but like I don't care what Kentucky bumpkins want to call me.
Right.
I'm going to support Cal because I've always liked Cal. Like, yes, I hated him at Kentucky or whatever, but like he's always been a highly thought of coach in my opinion.
Yeah. Well, and whether you like him or not,
great value Kroger.
I mean, whether you like him or not, he's one of the biggest names in college basketball. I mean, I would argue that he's the biggest name next to Bill Self, and I think you could, make a case for either one as to who's the biggest name. Those two, maybe Tom Izzo would be in that mix, but he's one of the top 5 names in college basketball.
I think you're right. I think it is. I think it is Bill Self. Then I don't know. I might even put Calipari above Bill Self.
I mean, it's an argument. I think
it's
you could go either way.
Interchangeable right there. But
are we talking about just men's basketball?
Yes. Yeah, just men's right now.
Because I was like, if you're going back even decades ago, I mean, Coach Cal's been coaching out like against Coach K. What's the other guy's name?
Roy Williams.
Yep, that.
Yes.
Yeah.
Couldn't think of his name.
And then Jay Wright too.
I mean, if you're gonna back up a few years, you got to throw Jay Wright in there from Villanova as well.
This is one of the things that I don't think people really understand about Arkansas basketball. Like we have the tier 1 teams right here. Mm-hmm. You got, and probably something towards this order: Kansas, Kentucky, North Carolina, Villanova, UCLA, and then Duke.
You got to put Duke in there. I think.
Duke is like the last of the tier 1s.
Yes.
They're the last, but they're tier 1.
Yep.
Then you have all the other teams that are they've been relevant for a while. They have a deep history. Arkansas is in that tier 2 list.
Yeah.
And Arkansas has the ability. So I credit Mike Anderson with a lot of this because Mike Anderson's the one that took over the crap program that Arkansas was.
Yep.
He got Arkansas back to respectable.
I would agree with that. Yeah. Absolutely.
Muss took the team that was respectable and made it feared.
Mm-hmm.
Arkansas was feared until Muss decided to give up on the team. But that's beside the point.
Right.
I'm kind of concerned. I feel like Cal's gonna absolutely either kill this or it's gonna take a step back. Either way, Arkansas is still gonna be within the top 15, top 20 programs in the country.
For me, it was like, Mike Anderson, Arkansas was mentioned on national television maybe once or twice. Mm-hmm. Then it came Muss. We were talked about all of into February, into March. And now with Cal, we haven't even played a dang game, and we're still a topic on SportsCenter.
Well, and it's not just on SportsCenter.
All the SEC channels, all the sports channels, like it's a continuous topic.
We get more coverage than Kentucky.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, and
we're
you look,
getting more coverage than the national champions.
Well, I mean, we really are. Well, and the night of the national championship game, what was being talked about on ESPN? Calipari to Arkansas.
And that's why he wanted to wait, though.
Mm-hmm.
In someone,
because he did.
And I respect him for that.
I do too. You get coaches that are at the level of Calipari, of Bill Self, Roy Williams. Insert the big name here. Most of those guys have big egos. And most of them want to feed that ego, and what better way to feed it than to overshadow the national championship game? But Cal took that's why, as he said in the interviews, that's why things didn't really, come together and go public until after the national title game, because he didn't want to overshadow everything that was going on there with UConn and their chance to repeat and all that. So, okay. So speaking of national championships, the birthday girl has shown up. So Casey, this is what happens when Zach's not here. We kind of get off the rails a little bit.
It's my fault. It's my fault.
And we were telling Mama Linda happy birthday when actually we should have been saying happy birthday to you. But anyway,
Happy 22nd birthday.
yeah, there you go. So Casey comes in and asks, hey guys, do you think Cal will take us to a championship in a couple years? I thought Muss would do it, and we all know how that turned out. I think we hit on that pretty well. Muss made it to where you didn't want to see Arkansas coming up in the NCAA tournament if you were a higher seed. I mean, Gonzaga and Kansas, and it seems like there was one more that we knocked off along the way.
We had Baylor on the ropes.
Yeah, we did.
And until there was a foul, I think that sent was a JD to the bench.
Yes.
We had Baylor on the ropes there for a little bit.
Such a good game.
And then it just exploded. Baylor became Baylor, and nobody else got anywhere close to them after that. But as closest Gonzaga's ever been to a national championship, too, by the way. Sorry.
For me, though, like, sometimes people, we want a national championship. Like, I'm not saying we don't want one, but people don't think about how hard that truly is.
Yeah.
As a realist, for me, I am okay with Elite Eights, Final Fours for a couple years, or even if we get, even if we make it to the tournament next year, we make it to the Elite Eight, back down to Sweet 16, then Final Four. To me, that's good enough.
Yeah.
To me, that is good enough.
My like you're saying, Sarah, my top goal for next year is Sweet 16.
Yeah.
I'm expecting second round. That's about where I'm expecting. And I hate that that's where for a Hall of Fame coach, that's where my expectation is. It's kind of sad to me. But with his history over the past couple of years with Kentucky, that's where it has to be right now. And that's why
I also think he's creating a team. I'm trying to think how to word it. He's not creating a team from scratch necessarily, even though it was from scratch. He had obviously Kentucky players coming in, but there's people who he would have had on his team that would have been the missing piece that are now going other places. To me, he hasn't had time to sit down and plan a true roster from beginning to end. Like, it's been very fast. So I think next year when he's given a year to develop some guys plus add in some missing pieces, I think it'll be a lot better. So I agree Sweet 16 is probably realistic for this year.
Yeah.
Even round of 32, like, if we make a good showing and we just get a crap placement, like, we might end up playing the national championship, or the national.
Right.
Who's going to
that 8-9 line, you know?
Yeah. So,
so along that line, let me throw this at you. Do you think having Calipari leading the program now, do you think that possibly affects where we could get seated? Because in years past, we've kind of felt like we've got a raw deal with where we've been seated. The Arkansas fan, everybody's out to get us, always out to get us. So does Calipari bring with him the fact of, well, we may see a difference in the way games are officiated, a difference in the way the national media looks at Arkansas, a difference in the way Arkansas is seated. If it comes down to between, let's say Arkansas and Illinois basically have the same resume, but you've got Brad Underwood and you've got John Calipari. Does that Calipari factor put us over the edge to where we would get the advantage over another team?
I think it does, and I think that's something that should be taken into consideration, personally.
I do too. I mean, Cal's the brand. I mean, Kentucky fans can say what they want about, taking a dig for Calipari University and all this. I don't care. I just want to win. And the notoriety that he's bringing to the program right now, and some of these pro guys that are talking about, hey, I'm going to be in Bud Walton Arena next year. And it's guys that you never thought would be coming to Bud Walton Arena unless they were coming with the opposing team. So
I got a question for y'all. So Cal took UMass to a Final Four, and that's probably the most impressive thing that he's done on his resume. Let's be honest here.
I would think so. Yeah.
He did it with Memphis too, and we've already discussed the 3 different schools, 3 different Final Fours. But I'm kind of getting to the point where I'm starting to think maybe this whole transfer portal thing is getting kind of cyclical. Before the transfer portal was really a thing, it was all about your one and dones, Right. Now it's starting to become more about development of players again. So we do have the one and done talents on our team, but it also feels like we have players that are going to be here for 2, 3, 4 years. So is the fact that he's bringing in some players from Kentucky, they already know the Cal system, so they're going to be able to cultivate the players behind them too to be able to raise this standard again. So is it getting to the point where the transfer portal is helping but hurting, but is it getting to the point where you're not as worried as for one and done players like he was at Kentucky? It's getting back to old school coaching of being able to develop people and investing into your players.
I'm still 50-50 on it because there's a lot of things I hate about the transfer portal. A lot. Coming from a former player, I hate some of the things, especially now that they've gotten away from, like, if you transfer twice, you got to sit a year. Like, that's no longer a thing, I guess.
Right.
Or it's in play that it's no longer a thing. But it does seem like now we're getting some players that we can develop, which I'm hoping that happens. People don't comment. I want a Devo Davis. I want someone who's going to be here 2-3 years, at least. Someone that kids can fall in love with and look up to. I feel like had Jordan Walsh had another year here, kids would have been all over him because he was I won't say a milestone player, but someone people looked up to, but he was only here a year.
He had this one right here.
Oh,
This is what we were missing last year.
Oh, I agree, 100%.
Missing in the head coach last year too.
Well, and along that line, I go back to there's a very simple but powerful line in the movie Remember the Titans, and its attitude reflects leadership. And I think we saw that firsthand with this basketball team this past season. There's no denying that. Like, I kind of scrolled up to what Casey Sutton said earlier today about the I thought Muss would do it. I'm not gonna lie, I thought he would too. I did too.
I thought he was the next coming of Nolan Richardson. Honestly,
I did too. Yep.
I thought he was going to be the one that was going to be able to take us to the next step, get us to the Final Four, because against Duke, I had my little problems with him in the Elite Eight against Duke. I felt like he should have taken a couple of timeouts to, stop Duke's momentum. Whatever. I'm not the head coach, but I feel like he had the ability to figure out what the problem was and be able to move forward, because Nolan didn't do it in year 4. He got close in year 4, but he was able to do it over a long stretch. I think I was really hoping Muss was going to be the guy, but I hate the fact that he just showed his ass last year, in my opinion.
And that's a good way to put it. Yeah.
It was also pretty obvious, though, in certain games. Like, I can't remember exactly who we were playing. I do know. UNC Greensboro, when we lost to, like, a no-name team, basically. They went on a ginormous run, and Muss doesn't call a timeout. And as
It drove me nuts.
IQ basketball person, anybody knows, call the dang timeout.
Yeah.
Or
he hated timeouts. I don't know what his problem was.
With a passion. And I get saving one for like an end of game scenario. That's my philosophy. If I was a coach, you save one end of game scenario. Always. But you have what, 2 others?
Well, you've got
4 timeouts.
And you've got that, even in the first half, when we would get down in the first half, the other team would be on a run. You've got that use it or lose it timeout. And very rarely would he even use that. He was trying to make it to the media timeout and use that. Sometimes you can't do that. Sometimes you have to.
There was a 10, 15-point run going on.
Yes.
Especially with 18 to 22-year-olds.
Yes.
Up to 26 now, but or 28.
Or 28 if you're talking football, but we'll come back to that after the
break. We're gonna
break.
Open that jar here in a little bit.
so as we kind of put a wrap on this basketball segment, to come around and answer Casey's question of will Cal take us to the title? Golly, it's hard to say that he will. He can. I have no doubt he's fully capable. But to say that he will, that without seeing a product on the floor right now, that's really a stretch. I could say yes, but it would just be speaking from the heart and not from my head.
For me, with the partnership with Tyson, with Hunt, if they stay in the mix, I don't know if they will with the coaching change. With having Tyson, having Walmart, having whoever, I think Coach Cal can get to the championship. I'm not saying we're going to win it. I think we can make the game.
Right.
But there's a possibility.
So Linda comes back and she has a really great point that ties into last year as well as this coming year for Cal. She says, I just hope Cal can corral these egos to play as a team, not just everyone trying to be the big dog. Boy, Linda, hammer, meet, nail. You hit the nail on the head with that, because that was part of the problem this past season. We had too many guys that, we didn't have any role players, basically.
I really feel like Cal's pretty good at that, though. Like,
Mhm,
Cal
I do
lets
too.
the players be their players.
He's
really
a no
does.
BS. He's a no BS guy.
I mean, he's going to let the people be themselves, but at the same time, he's going to rein it in. He's not going to let them just. I agree. Muss is gone. Thank God.
Yeah.
He's gonna sit over there in his $15 million Los Angeles house, maybe even apartment. I don't know. But I really feel like Cal does a really good job of like letting his players have their personalities, keeping it within the team, but he keeps them mature. Like, you've never seen a Cal player just blow up like somebody in Oklahoma State now. But I really feel like Cal does do a good job of that.
My last comment about Muss is that I find interesting that not a single player from last year's team is following him. And
that was the biggest red flag.
volume.
Yep. If we were on that ESPN show that gives like points or ding, ding, ding. So, all right. So we're going to take Carolyn's advice. We're going to move on and we're going to flush Muss. Easy for me to say. And then when we come back, we're going to have a little bit of time left for debate night, and we're going to talk about the newest recruit to the football team. And I'll just leave it at that, and then we'll get into the senior citizen. I mean, the new recruit when we come back after the break.
I'm not that old.
Inside the Hawg Pen.
I'm not that old.
On the Sideline Radio Network. Mix Design is your one-stop shop for custom clothing with a personal touch. At Mix Design, we can help you tell your story through your wardrobe. Your imagination on a hat, shirt, pullover, or nearly anything wearable. And while you're picking out some custom clothing, check out the one-of-a-kind handmade soaps from the Bobcat Soap Company. Find us on Facebook and let us create custom swag just for you at Mix Design. All right, welcome back in, everybody. Inside the Hawg Pen, Sarah Savage, Swish Vogel, D-Matt, and your boy MC here. Final segment of the night, and we're gonna have some fun with this because
I don't like you right now. I'm not that old.
I didn't say you, dude. I'm the oldest cat in the room here. I mean, if anybody's
You
gonna
said
be football,
senior
it's gonna be me.
citizen, and he's literally my age. I think you.
Okay, in football
He was born
terms,
a year after me.
in football terms,
He technically is a senior, and he's a citizen.
Oh my god!
I mean, if you put it into football terms, he's as ancient as pretty much I am.
Just
Okay, but isn't there some other teams with some old QBs? Isn't OSU's like 25?
Yes. So I'll get into this. If you don't know what we're talking about, Monty Harrison is a former Major League Baseball player, committed to play football at Arkansas. Yesterday, over the weekend, I don't know, sometime in the last 48 hours or so. He's 28 years old.
Text from you about it. I think it was yesterday.
It was yesterday.
He's 28 years old.
How do you commit, but you're a walk-on? That's just
so he got the PWO, the preferred walk-on.
Oh, okay.
So it's actually like a step above just a basic walk-on. So he's 28 years old. He was a 4-star football recruit coming out of high school 10 years ago.
Hey, you don't have to repeat it.
So your 10-year reunion's coming up, D-Man?
Yeah.
Like, you
No,
know,
it's past.
Oh, you've already
Past.
had it. Okay.
I wasn't invited, but that's beside the point.
So, all right, we got. If you follow my Twitter at all, I have been very vocal.
No.
Shall we say? Well, I know that's a stretch for me being vocal on Twitter about how this is really being overblown, and it's nothing against Monty Harrison. Mad respect to this dude that he's in good enough shape that he can leave Major League Baseball and come play college football. But are we that hard up that we've got to take I don't want to say failed Major League Baseball. No, I'll say failed Major League Baseball player, because if he was a successful one, he would still be playing baseball. Are we really that far cooked that we got to take this dude and hope that he can contribute?
He's a walk-on. He's not going to contribute. Okay, let me ask y'all this.
All
if
right.
he contributes, we're really good.
Facts.
I think we're cooked anyway, but you know.
What? Just hear me out here.
All
We're
right.
bringing in a damn near 30-year-old. Let's talk about it.
Bringing in Uncle Drew.
Why don't you try out, D-Man?
You got some eligibility left, D-Man?
I can get a master's, I guess, but whatever.
Get a PhD too while you're at it. Get 4 years in.
Okay.
Woosah. Just woosah it out.
So, what if he's been brought in just for one reason, and one reason only, is to keep the locker room mature? Because obviously the locker room did terrible last year, followed by the leader of never mind.
Choo-choo. Polar
Yeah,
Express
I mean, is he
coming
going to
through.
Is he going to keep them from watching Polar Express? And
I'll
the
be
locker
driving
room?
a Freightliner tomorrow. They
That was
can
the
get.
walk-on locker room. That was the walk-on locker room. That
Oh, it
video
was. I forgot about that. That's
That
true.
wasn't the main locker room. That was the walk-on locker room. So
You're
is
right.
he going to keep the TV
I'll be
on?
in my Freightliner tomorrow. If you see somebody under it, just know that I didn't do it today. So that's all I'm going to say about throwing people under things.
All right, so Carolyn's got a good point here, but I'm gonna try to shoot holes in it if I can here. So Carolyn Williams comes in and says, "Have some perspective as to the age." Kelsey, I assume she means Mr. Taylor Swift. Travis Kelsey is 34 and he can play. Very true, but he's also been playing his entire career in football, so I think that makes a difference.
That's where I'm worried, is that, I mean, I guess it doesn't matter now because his pro career is over, but like if he gets hit, like is he, buff enough to like take that hit? Because baseball physique and football physique are
Yeah, unless you're Bo Jackson.
Similar, but when it gets up
Right.
into college, it's not.
You have to be in shape for 182 games, though. Like they're
True.
doing a lot of lifting. They're doing a lot of stuff that people don't really think they're doing. But 182 games, that's a lot of wear and tear. That's literally over half the year
The
they're
question
playing
is,
baseball.
how many of those 182 did he actually play?
In minors? Probably a lot. But he played in the majors in 3 years. He played in 50 games, and I did my research this morning.
Oh,
That's what I saw, is that he'd only played like 50-something games.
And he had a batting average of 176.
Well, and so like with the highlights that we've seen of this guy that have been circulating between Facebook and Twitter and everywhere else, you've got that one where he kind of goes Spider-Man up the wall and makes the catch out in center field. Hell of a catch. I'm not taking that away from him. I'm trying to figure out how is that going to translate to the football field. I saw another highlight to where he stole home in a game. Okay, so the quickness, the quick feet, the quickness, that can translate.
The jumping's there.
The jumping is there, but I mean, let's and again, D-Matt, I'm not picking on you, but
I feel like you are.
As you close in, and I can speak from experience here, as you close in on that big 3-0, and let's face it, he's going to be closer to 30 than he is 28 when the season starts, because he's going to
be 29 when the season starts. I looked it up. Don't worry.
So your body doesn't recover the same way at 29 that it does at 18, 19, 20. At least mine did not. Now, I was
don't know how
not
he's
in the
going to do
shape
on
that he's
Dixon
in.
Street. That's for sure.
Do what?
I don't know how he's going to fare on Dixon Street. I can tell you that much. I know how my hangovers are. Jesus.
Yeah, well, and
For me, I think if I'm him, like I've thought about it. Like I'm back in school. I don't have a lot of friends. You're on a campus you're not familiar with. Why not join a team? You're already working out and doing stuff. Why not join a team and have, some friends, some teammates, somewhere to be, someone to keep you in check? Like, I've thought about trying out for the women's team. They've had walk-on tryouts a couple years ago, and I thought about it. I really did, just to be part of a team.
right.
Now, I didn't want to have to put in the effort and lose weight and do all that stuff. But, I think it's more of a camaraderie thing. Like,
that's where I was kind of coming from.
He's already going to college. Why not join the team? And especially if he can get the preferred walk-on and possibly some NIL, possibly some, other
could
money.
Be a stabilizing factor in a locker room that was not stable last year. And he has a different perspective too. He's probably played for a couple Bobby Petrinos before, and he's been able to tell them like, hey, this is like, he might be yelling at you, but you've got to hear the underlying message of you're not doing right. You have to do right if you want to go make all the money. And he played in 770 career baseball games as a professional.
That's quite a few.
That's a lot.
Yeah, that is. So Dan Yoakum has a comment here that kind of pertains to what you mentioned earlier about, being that voice of reason or stability in the locker room. He's a 28-year-old, quote unquote, in all caps, man who's been around the block. I hope he goes out there and kicks somebody's ass. I do too. I hope he does. And this is, and like I said before, this is not a knock on Monty Harrison. Mad respect to this dude for doing what he's doing. It's more of a concern with why are we looking to dudes like this?
Can he be immediately eligible on the baseball team? Just wondering.
No.
That would be nice.
My question is, no, not with his batting average. Ours is already bad. Anyway.
Fair. That's fair.
So my question was, did he reach out? Like, did he apply at Arkansas and then was like, hey, why not play football? Or was it? I don't know. Sam ran into him? Was it BMFP?
Well, okay. So I did see there is a connection to, I believe it's the running backs coach, between Harrison and the new running backs coach. I did see that. I don't remember exactly what it was. The joke that immediately came to my head was, oh yeah, they probably went to high school together. But there is a coach player connection there. So
he's also from Missouri. So that's why I think he's Springfield.
I think so.
So I was thinking
it's somewhere over in the western side of Missouri.
Arkansas's close. Why not come? My thing is, I think he was already thinking about coming back to school. Because he never went to school. He got drafted out of high school, if I'm not mistaken. You're correct. Yeah. He's never started college. He doesn't have a degree. You're a failed player at this point, not being rude, but he's a failed MLB player.
Right.
He didn't make quite as much as he probably expected. And now he's looking for a job and realized, hey, I can't make that much.
So he's from Lee's Summit, Missouri is where he's from.
So he actually played 9 games in MLB last year for the Angels.
Wow.
He played in AAA this last year in 2023. Well, 2023 he was at AAA. 2022 he played in 9 games at the Angels.
Okay.
So I guess he was on the roster at the Angels. So he probably has a pretty good bank account set up. So he probably had the realization, the come to Jesus meeting of, hey, my baseball career is probably ending soon.
Yeah.
And I don't have anything to show for it besides I played in baseball. And so he's probably one of those guys like, okay, it's time to go back to school. And he probably came back to Arkansas. I was like, I mean, I could always see if I could even try for the football team,
Yeah.
And then it was probably a mutual kind of coming together. He probably reached out to Sam and said, hey, is there even a walk-on spot that I could probably have? And he was like, Sam being the nice guy that he is, probably obliged. But that's kind of how I kind of see it. But
I think it was more the running backs coach, because when he asked Sam about it, Sam said, I don't know.
Yeah.
Final comment of the night. We'll give it to Carolyn Williams. She has a counterpoint to my counterpoint that I made to her. He is a professional athlete, and he didn't go play for the UFL. He came back to college. That means he's likely trying to see if he can still play.
He wants to practice. And he wants to see what he can do. He's not hurting anyone. Yeah, I agree. He's not hurting anybody. He's
No,
I've seen
to be
some.
honest though, no one's going to the UFL anymore. No one wants to at this point. I'm noticing that from a lot of players.
Yeah,
they don't.
It's kind of the last resort.
Yeah, it's like I'm out of college eligibility. Let's go.
Mm-hmm.
There's a lot with what Jesse's saying too with the maturity.
Yeah,
the schedule of a minor league team is insane. Like if you were a top draft pick, like rounds 3 and below, you're gonna have pretty good money saved up. But a lot of the minor league players, they all pool their money together and get like a 2 to 3 bedroom apartment, and then there's like 6 of them that stay in that apartment. Like that's how that's kind of what goes on in the minor leagues that people don't really know about. So this whole, like, he could be a really good cause for everybody to come together inside that locker room.
My question is though, does that not look weird? Like, I'm coming as an older woman. Like, if I tried out for the Olympic team, and I'm not even halfway to 30. Well, halfway through my 20s. We'll say it that way.
What?
Halfway from 20 to 30. I'm not 25
There you
yet.
go. There you go.
But I'm thinking I'm already almost 6 years older than people coming in out of college. Some of them come into college underage. Some of them are 17. So I'm thinking 18-year-olds. And then you've got a 24, 25-year-old grown woman in the locker next to you. Like, does that not feel weird? Like, then does it feel like she's kind of your mom? Or I'm thinking he or she, but talking about me,
Right.
like, I would feel like kind of like a mother figure more than a teammate.
I'll make a comparison. Like Tyler Eulis coming in, he's probably around 20, 28, 29 years old.
He is 28. I'm pretty sure.
Yeah, he's coming in as a coach. He's going to have a way different relationship with every single player on that team than Monty Harrison's going to be able to have.
He was born in 96, so he's 3 years older than me, 27. He's younger than our newest football recruit.
So yes, they're going to have a different relationship just based on that. And you know as well as I do, Sarah, and MC too. He's never mind.
A few years removed.
You can't talk to a coach the same way you're going to talk to your player. Like your player, like he might call you out on something, but it's going to come from a point of like, hey, you're either going to figure this out or we're about to fight about it. A coach is going to call you out, and then you're going to be mad about it. Either you're going to walk off the field, or you're about to run up and down the court, run up and down the field. You're going to run, basically.
To me, it's just a very interesting dynamic because not only is he older than everybody, so kind of could boss everybody around, but then he's a walk-on, so he can't necessarily boss around the scholarship player. Just kind of a weird – to me, it's just a weird position to be in. Not something – like that's why my walk-on dreams ended at probably 23 years old. I realized I was too old and my knees hurt too bad. Like, you know, it's just not something I would feel comfortable with. And also as a walk-on, like, you're seeing 18, 19-year-olds make millions in front of you. Like, not a position I want to put myself in.
He definitely was backing up Shohei Ohtani. I mean, if he was on the Angels roster and played 9 games, I mean, he was pretty close to Ohtani. So I'm going to take a wild guess and say he's going to be able to tell a couple of these hotheads that, hey, if you don't stop all this stuff that you got, it's going to go away. He can even like fall on the sword himself if he needs to.
So Dan Yoakum has a good comment here. I think he had something in his pro contract that if the baseball thing doesn't work out, they'll pay for him to go back to school. Most guys, you know, in the league, I've seen that before. A lot of guys have that. Plus, I'm pretty sure
out of high school people.
Yeah. Plus, I'm pretty sure he can get some pretty good NIL deals with some of the retirement centers. So
he needs to be partnered up with UAMS for the rehab because his knees going to be hurting.
Yeah.
His knees going to be. If mine hurt and I only played like a year of ball in college, I can't imagine how bad they're going to be hurting.
So, all right. So to kind of put a bow on this
for having me today.
We're going to put a bow on this discussion. And kind of wrap things up here as we get ready going into the weekend. Hey, we got to mention this though, and I apologize for not getting this in sooner. Softball team, 2:00 tomorrow, playing Missouri. Sarah, give me 30 seconds. What you think is going to happen in that game tomorrow?
I think we're gonna blow them out. They haven't released the pitchers' names from what I could find.
Okay.
But we do have one really good pitcher, and I found out she's actually deaf, and that's why she thinks she succeeds so much, because she
Wow,
takes out her implant so she can't hear the smack talk. And she just is in her own little zone out there.
So she can be locked, like seriously locked in when she's pitching.
Yeah, it's line stock, I believe, is what somebody told me. Which I could have this. This was on a radio show, so
yeah.
I don't know if this is true or where this is all coming from. But kind of an interesting fact. I think they just need to go out and play ball. Bree Ellis and Hannah Gamble need to have some good games. They need to get backed up by some of the other little runners to get on base. But I think they can go out, and I think they can make it to the finals based on the lineup they have in front of them. The finals will be rough. I think it was Bama, and that's been rough. We beat them here, got run ruled by them at their house. So, but I think they can go win it. I'm gonna plan to watch tomorrow. I got nothing else to do. Might as well, right?
Well, and you know this as well as I do. When you get into tournament, you don't talk about the next step till you complete the one in front of you. So, next one up on the agenda is tomorrow, 2:00 versus Missouri. So, best of luck to the Lady Razorback softball team.
Too.
Okay, SEC Network tomorrow afternoon. Hopefully, I mean, anytime we can beat Missouri in anything, I'm all for it. So, might as well take them down.
I kind of hope we win the tournament and get another SEC, because we've won. I don't know if we've won like the regular champs, but then we've won the tournament a few times. So it'd be nice to get another one under our belt.
Well, and that would make that could impact seeding as it goes into the NCAA tournament as well.
We are top 8 right now as of yesterday.
So that would just basically further lock it in that you're going to be one of the top 8 seeds. So always a good thing. 20, Bogle is a tough place to play.
Every team left in the SEC tournament, every team left in the SEC tournament is in the top 25.
That's insane. I mean, that just speaks to
from what I saw.
Crazy.
If someone wants to correct me, but that's what I saw.
Unreal. And then I'll throw one final shout out, and then we'll get out of here. The golf team out the regional in Las Vegas, they won the regional. I don't follow golf that close, but if a Razorback team is winning, I mean, I don't care if it's checkers.
We have one girl. We have one girl on the team, and I cannot remember her name, but she is apparently like really good. I think she's from, I want to say Columbia, but that could be wrong. But she's really good. She got invited to, is it St. Augusta, for like some tournament a couple weeks ago, but she's leading the team right now.
Nice.
And hopefully they can win the championship.
Yep. Like I said, anything that a Razorback team can win, I'm all for it. So, all right. Any final thoughts before we get out of here tonight? We've kind of run a little bit long, but that's all right.
Beat Miss State.
Yeah, we got to beat Mississippi State. D-Mad, what's your final thought, buddy?
28's not that old.
No, it's not. But in terms
I would say give me
career,
a year to get in shape. I'd feel fine, but that would also put me at 30 years old. I would not feel fine at 30 years old.
I was right. She's from Columbia. Her name is Maria. She's only a freshman. If you don't keep tabs on her, you should, because she is really damn good.
Wow. All right. There we go. Well, that's going to do it for tonight. Hopefully Zach is out chasing his storms or, keeping everybody safe with the information he's providing. D-Mad, Sarah, appreciate y'all stepping in here tonight. And Zach will be back with us next week. As long, God willing, and the creek don't rise, as my grandpa used to say. So we're going to get out of here tonight, and we'll see you guys next time on Inside the Hog Pen.